Hey, it's Rich. Welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to teach you about perspective, primarily 2 point perspective. Everything I'm sharing with you guys was taught to me by a comic book artist. I had to watch dozens of hours of Jim Lee Twitch streams to find this gem on tiled floors in perspective, and go to a Comic Con to discover this perspective hack from Brian Stelfreeze. I've got some rare gems in here that I haven't found anywhere else that I'm putting in one video for you guys. So smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. You're going to want to save this video too to whatever art playlist you guys got. Comment below what specific lessons you guys would like to see next. Let's get into this. All right, here's my 5-step system for measuring out tiles, as taught to me by Jim Lee. Jim Lee, guys, pay attention to this. And with a bonus 6th step, it's ridiculous, but I figured out how to put it in there. All right, once you have your perspective grids all done, you determine how large this first tile is and find those perspective lines going all the way back. Right? Step 1, you're going to find the center point of the tile by drawing an X. Step 2, from the center point, you're going to find the center line that goes through all these tiles and follow that back to the vanishing point. Step 3, you're going to find the center point on that edge, not the center point of the tile, but on that edge. Because step 4, you draw a line from the opposite corner through that center point of that side, straight through, until you reach the line. Step 5, new point, new edge. You found the new tile. Those are exactly the same size, just further back in space. And don't be afraid to review this content, okay? Slow it down, reverse, rewatch. There you go. So this next method, I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but you don't need a ruler, throw that away. All right, this is called the fan method. That's what I call it anyway, because it reminds me of a Chinese fan, right? How you just kind of flip it open and all those things come out from, and it's like a pizza slice. All right, you don't need any ruler, no straight edges. You can eyeball it because guess what? The perspective isn't perfect. In the real world, there's slight curves to everything because the earth is slightly curved and light bends in the atmosphere depending on humidity and all kinds of other effects. So what we're looking at, there's no true straight lines in the real world. So if you're using a bunch of straight lines, it can actually look a little artificial. And if you're doing a panel with just a few characters and some minor backgrounds, you don't need absolutely straight lines. You don't need 200 perspective lines per panel. You don't need it. Don't do it. Set up a simple perspective like this that is rather loose. And then when you're doing your finished penciling, obviously if you need a straight edge, use a straight edge. But this is all you need for guidance when drawing anatomy and all that stuff. You don't need to draw 200 lines, guys. So this is the hack. It's not a cheat because cheat to me implies that, you know, you gain some knowledge or skill through theft or something, you know, and there's no theft here. You're just doing it quicker and easier. And this makes it all, let me tell you, if it wasn't for this method, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. So, and I definitely don't do as much perspective drawing as I should. I need to be doing more. But this is the method that I learned from Brian Stelfreeze, a fantastic comic book artist. He's been doing this for like well over 30 years. He was around back in the 90s, Studio Gaijin. He worked with Adam Hughes, in the studio with Adam Hughes. And he actually taught Adam Hughes how to paint, how to color. So look this guy up. Find interviews. He's dropping knowledge bombs all the time. So now that we got the grid in there, let's draw in a quick character. And you can already kind of see that there's some sort of world, some sort of atmosphere already building up there. And you don't even really need to do anything aside from having those perspective grids. And then it just starts to fill in. All right, so now let's set up a perspective grid and see how a figure looks standing at different distances away and how you would place figures, you know, on a street or in a room, and how that works with the horizon line. Now, the most important thing to understand about the horizon line is that it is your eye line. It is the line where the camera is on that scene. So everything above it, you're going to have a low angle view on. Everything below it, you're going to have a high angle view on. You'll be looking down on some things and looking up on other things. And you could be to the left of something or to the right of something. And that's very specific to the two-point perspective. 1 point, you're either going to be to the left of everything or to the right of everything. Not left or right, how it's kind of split like that. So we have set up this character, and you want to pay attention to where the horizon line is on that character. And as you can see, he's standing sideways. He's going back in perspective. So the feet aren't going to be touching the ground at the same point. And this is a great way to develop depth and volume in a scene, as well as perspective. But pay attention to that horizon line or eye line, where it falls on the body. Right now, I'd say it's about chest level. That means every other character, roughly that character's height, if that dude's 6 feet tall, every other 6-foot person in the room, that horizon line is going to fall on their chest. If there's a 5-foot person in there, it's probably going to be going right through their head, right where their eyes are. So that's important things to understand. Like if that's Spider-Man at Avengers Tower, and the Hulk was somewhere in the background, Hulk would probably be smaller, but the line would probably go right through his crotch. So, and there you go. Spider-Man was further back in the room. Let's say it's Captain America. He's further back in the room. They're about the same height. He's probably looking at him like, that idiot. Peter Parker, I'm going to throw my shield at his damn head. There he is. And that horizon line goes right through his chest. And they're both on the same exact line. So that's an important thing to notice. They're both on the same kind of line, going back towards that left perspective point. I'm going to draw somebody even further back to the left of that guy. That we'll just assume is Captain America. I'm going to do some blue line boxes just to kind of show, the direction that these people are standing at, Spider-Man, the foreground characters kind of going back towards that right point. He's turned 3/4, and then that middle ground guy's straight. And then this new character that I'm going to be drawing even further left is going to be slightly 3/4 turned to the left. And when they start getting that small, it's hard to do details. Probably should have drawn all this on a bigger board, but oops. I was just using printer sheets. Great for sketching and doing rough stuff like this. So that is a 2mm blue lead that I'm using there. And as you can see, that horizon line is going right through all their chests. Assuming all those characters are the same size, just going further back in space, that's how you determine. That's how you can tell. Now I'm going to draw somebody like extremely close up and how that would look. And that's really messed up at first. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't know what to draw first, the chest or the head, because I always start with the head. But in this case, I know that horizon line is going to be going through the chest. So there I am redrawing the head. So that's how that would look. The closer the characters are, know that the horizon line is going to be going through the same point on all the bodies, assuming that they're the same size. All right, now I'm going to walk you guys through a panel setup. Assuming this is the panel borders, I'm going to do the perspective in blue line. And here you go. It's a simple 1-point fan fan mode that I learned from Brian Stelfreeze. You know what? I'm even going to incorporate the tile method into this panel. So pay attention and watch for that. Although I noticed that it was a little more difficult with my freehand version. So when you use the tile one, obviously you want to be more precise. But here I am roughing in the character. Yep, so I remember that horizon line is your camera line, it's your eyesight line. So you're kind of looking up at his head. So I'm going to see a little bit under the chin. And I thought that was kind of a good angle to pick, you know. It's not my usual. I would normally be right around eye line or something. But yeah, roughing in the figure. I did some contour lines on the arm just to kind of help myself. Mark that down. And this is somebody who just walked into a room. Behind him there's going to be a doorway. And kind of determining light source coming down on him. I'm way more interested in the anatomy at this point for some reason. But there's the actual line going from his head back. And I want to make sure that the doorway was actually bigger than him where I set it up. I did a few different versions there. It was like, should it be angled? Should it not? I'm just going to go with a straight on shot. And there's kind of shadow back there. Don't know where he came from. Don't know what's over there. But it's going to be open. And there's the ceiling line lined up with the top of the door. I guess that would be a really low ceiling, but oh well. I want to see more of the ceiling so I could do this long tube light and a little string there. One of those little drawstrings you would pull on. So there you go. It's a pretty simple panel, but now I'm going to do the tiling method. So pay attention for that as soon as I get to it. Drawing his goofy hair. All right. And of course you put clothes on this too, but that will of course be another video on doing clothes and folds in clothing material. So here I go. So you first determine the first tile, how big that's going to be. And then from there you use the X, find the center, and then find the center line going all the way through, and then a line from the opposite corner through the center point on that line. Here I am breaking out the ruler because I was like, is that right? For some reason I was thinking it was going to be smaller, and it should actually be bigger than that one because it's coming towards us and it's going to be, but it's super big. It's a super big tile. So totally unrealistic, but it's fine. It works for what I was trying to do, simple demonstration. So if you guys enjoyed this, please click that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully you have this saved in whatever art lesson playlist you got.